Hello, everybody, and welcome to Double Take, GamingLag.com's review show, where we take a second look, I guess, at all the games we've been playing in the last month, and we sort of talk about what we like about them, what we don't like. I'm your host, or one of your hosts, I guess, Mike Chalice. This is Matt Bird. How are you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Oh, just still in vacation mode, basically, off of my honeymoon and stuff. But that's neither here nor there. This month we are going to be talking a little bit about LEGO Dimensions that Matt's going to talk about for a few seconds. But most of this episode will be dedicated to the Taken King, the things we love, the things we don't love. It's mostly positive, but that being said, we also have a podcast that you can listen to called The Last Word that we talk all things Destiny every single week. But this is going to be literally all of the points that we love about Taken King and a few things that we don't like. But Matt, why don't you start us off with a little bit of LEGO Dimensions? Now that you've had a chance to play it and sit down with it, what do you like about it? What don't you like about it?
So with LEGO Dimensions, it's the newest bring the toys to life style game that they have out there. It is a lot of fun. The changes that they've done versus Skylanders and Disney Infinity, though, is the portal is not just where you set your characters, it's actually interactive as well. There's actually puzzles where you have to move the different characters around. It's very much like all the other LEGO games when you're playing, except for that. So instead of a boss, you go over and you punch your person out, you actually have to move them out. So very interactive that way. One of the trophies, and I'm not sure if it's tied to birth date or whatever it is, but I'm too old for this stuff, so I'm assuming it was a poke fun at me trophy. It might be for everybody, who knows. But the one downfall of it is a pay to win platinum or 100% achievement. Some of the side things for collecting to get your red bricks and things like that, you can't actually unlock without purchasing a new toy set, the new level packs, the new characters, whatever they are.
So they're getting you with that.
They are.
So you've finished the main story, but there are other things you can buy to continue.
Yeah. Well, I have access to and have purchased everything that's out at the moment. I still actually have to wait to be able to get the Ghostbusters, which some of the side missions for getting the little mini kits that have been in all LEGO games require a Ghostbuster. And exploding things, only certain characters can do that, but you don't have to buy them all to get it. You just have to buy one of each type of character to get it.
Yeah, knowing what you know now, though, would you recommend that to people, or would you obviously it plays like a traditional LEGO game?
It does play like a traditional LEGO game, and I love the LEGO games. Hated the Portal at first, which is what their base is called. It's called the Portal.
Yep.
Would I say it's for everybody? No. If you have small children and stuff, be prepared to pay. But I would definitely give it our sideways thumb.
Okay. So you would with caution. Make sure you're prepared to be spending money, because obviously if you beat it in that short amount of time, the main story probably doesn't take very long, and then you will be craving more and want it, and you will have to buy to get more.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
The one thing about that, though, is that you can get Benny.
I don't know what that is.
LEGO movie, Spaceship.
Oh, Spaceship guy?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you can buy him. He's out in November, I believe.
Sweet.
Anyways, back to Taken King.
Back to Taken King, which is what this whole episode is going to be about, because for those of you who don't know or have never heard of the game Destiny, it is still a massive entity in the gaming world right now, and tens of millions of people still play the game. Its major expansion launched 1 year after its release, actually 1 year and about 6 days or 7 days after, and it has been a massive success. All of the old players have either come back or have talked about, or who are still playing are talking about how amazing it is comparatively to the original game. Sort of leads you to believe like this is kind of what it was intended to be in the first place, but publishers get on the ass of the developers to say you need to release something because we put way too much money into this game for you not to release it this year type thing. But we're going to go over what we like and what we don't like. First, I want to start with, is there any negatives that you can think of as of right now, Matt?
The hype Game Informer put into Sleeper Simulant.
Yes.
That would be the only negative I can think of right off top without discussing all the other points, because yes, everything has negatives,
Of course.
This is the game that I wanted in the
Well,
first place.
I've listened to a couple of Destiny podcasts every single week, and the one thing that I don't like is how much bitching there is. No matter what great things happen, all they do is complain about it. And there's always one person who is constantly being negative, and this should change and that should change. Guess what? It's not changing. Deal with it. Stop complaining. You still play it every night. You can't hate it that much. But Sleeper Simulant was a little bit of a misfire for me too. It is a very cool gun, and spoilers, if you didn't do the mission on the day, you cannot get the gun until they do it again.
Yeah.
But it is a heavy weapon fusion rifle that does massive amounts of damage. But the hype train was a little bit too big from Game Informer. I would agree with you there because although it does massive damage, it is a long charge rate. It only holds 3 rounds in the magazine and 7 rounds in total, so it might do massive damage, but you are out of ammo very goddamn quickly. And every time you pick something up, it's like rockets. You only get 2 shots. Okay. So kind of difficult to justify that when you get awesome items like swords and heavy machine guns that are badass as all hell and all that kind of stuff.
Like the raid one.
That I don't have yet. But let's get into some positives because that's really the only negative I would have on it because everything else, I know there's some nitpicky things you can do about about the Taken King, but overall, it is a much better improvement on the original game, and that's what we are going to spend the time on because before we even talk about all this stuff, I would recommend this. I would recommend this to new players, and that sort of segues into our first little topic because of the accessibility to new players.
Exactly.
So when you start the game in Destiny, you started at level 1 and you worked your way up to level 20, and then you had a brutal gear grind to get to level 26 to do the raid, and then an even more brutal gear grind to get to level 30 with your equipment. They have done away with all of that. You can get to level 40, but not only that, if you buy the collector's edition of Taken King, which one would think would be a lot of money, but it's not. It's $80 as opposed to the game being $40 or $50. And you get a level 25 character so you can jump right into the Taken King content and then explore the old stuff as you go, which, to be honest, don't even bother. Just go with the Taken King stuff. But we like that.
Yeah.
One of our raid team members, my cousin Scott, played on Xbox for a long time and wanted to jump into PS4, but didn't have a PS4. He now does. He bought the collector's edition, and he is right up with us, playing with us since the launch. Better than us. Handsomer than us. Has nicer hair than us. Just everything he's just better than us in every way. But if you've never played Destiny and you've wanted to try it, now is the right time to do so. And for us, it's been really cool because if we didn't have 3 characters like our buddy Josh, who's on our regular podcast, you can just jump to level 25 with whatever character you need. It's a great way to play catch up, especially since they changed so much. But that's one thing I wanted to touch on that we love about it. Item organization was added. What do we think about that? It is what it is, right?
It is, yeah. It's great that it's more organized than it was. Did I need it? No.
Yeah. So this actually didn't come with the Taken King. This came for the original game, which is actually smart on them. You didn't have to pay for it. Item organization came for exotics, which means if you ever get rid of an exotic, you can just buy it back. Any exotic you've discovered, that is. They have item organization discovered since, yes.
Since the update.
Shader organization was added. Ship organization was added. Every item that was taking up space in your vault was basically added, was put into a terminal to make it easier to access, and then they doubled your vault space anyway. So lots of room. I have no complaints about space. I don't even keep shaders that I'm not using or I know I won't use. I get them and I delete them immediately. There was a time that I went literally between the vendor, bought a whole bunch, sharded them or discarded them all just to have them in the collection so that I can have them.
Me too.
Let's touch on microtransactions, which are incoming. We just found out about that stuff, but it needs to be said that obviously the Taken King will add microtransactions. What do you think about that, Matt?
I'm okay with it. Like you said last week on our Last Word podcast, as long as it remains vanity and doesn't block endgame content, which as of right now they said that is not going to. Mm-hmm. As long as it doesn't actually do that, we're not going to end up buying weapons and stuff to level our characters. As long as they stick to emotes or even shaders. I'll buy a shader.
Yeah. You can do emote shaders. You can do ships. I don't care about that. You can do, what are the other things that you can have? Sparrows. I don't care about that either. That doesn't really affect the gameplay. You can get free sparrows from the quest lines. If you're a year 1 player, you get a cool sparrow. Everybody who played during the anniversary got a flame stupid looking sparrow. You can get one from quests. Yes, you can do tricks on it, but I wish it didn't have flames on it. Anyway.
Red Bull Quest.
Wow.
Sorry for the plug to Red Bull,
Yeah.
but the Red Bull Quest gives you a blue and gray one that does the exact same thing.
Nah. But yeah, so anything that's non-vanity, I'm okay with microtransactions as well. All you people bitching that it's just going to turn into a pay-to-win game, if that happens, I will probably stop playing it, but I'm not going to fault somebody for something they have not done yet. I have to believe that Bungie is smart enough to know that if they do that, they will lose a lot of their hardcore playing group. Like, they will lose most of their player base if it's a pay-to-win game.
Yep.
But if you want to sell me dances so I can buy one dance as opposed to $20 for one thing that I like and then a bunch of things I don't like, by all means, go ahead. This was the biggest surprise to me. We're going to talk about quests and missions and stuff. There are 18 missions that you can unlock in the Taken King. It's a little bit, and it's done better.
Much better.
Much better. So you actually only have probably about 7 or 8 of those missions that are for the main story, or we'll call it Act 1. And then there's a second act, which has you going through these massive quests that have multiple parts that send you to old places and new places, which always culminate in a mission that is brand new content that you have to do as you're chasing something across the galaxy. Very, very cool. But it's a testament to how much content they gave you in the Taken King. They have 18 missions as opposed to 19 in vanilla Destiny.
Yeah.
So comparatively to that, there's really no comparison. 4 strikes compared to 6 in the original game if you include the PlayStation exclusive stuff, or 1 less on each side for those. That being said, the strikes from Taken King are 1,000 times better than any strike that was created for the original game.
I love Alakal.
Yeah. Sunless Cell is the best strike, in my opinion. It is so fun, such a clever use of the environment. Fighting in pitch black, not being able to see anything except for, the Thrall's eyes glow and stuff like that. But Alakul, unless you're shooting him, you can't see shit.
Yep.
And he's got a big-ass axe, and you don't want it to hit you.
No.
You also don't want to get your swords by doing all 3 elements at the same time. Makes it very, very difficult. But yeah, so infusing system is awesome. They've single-handedly made blues useful.
Yep.
They've made every piece of gear that you get is something that you want to look at before you shard, whereas in previous games you would shard everything green and blue because you didn't need it. Now blues can actually roll higher numbers, and you can infuse those into your legendaries to have better weapons. Genius.
Absolutely.
Absolutely genius. Go ahead. Yeah.
No.
Well, why do you like it so much?
Well, the infusing system is not even the blues into the purples. Like, before, you would get a piece of legendary gear, and you'd be like, well, yeah, this is going to hold me over until I get the raid gear.
Right.
Now, the raid gear, yes, that is your end game content and stuff, but you can take that and put it into the gear. Like, I have ones that probably won't ever roll for me over 300, but I love the Vermilion Stripe, which I can't even find to buy. I'm going to put my raid gear into it, and I'm not going to look like other characters. Before, everyone looked the same. So the infusing system has completely overhauled that so that we can actually make our characters look how we want them to look.
Right. So to sum it up, instead of giving us a transmog system that allows us to change any piece of armor to look like anything else, if you like a set of gear, that it has to be year 2, it is restricted to that. But if you like a set of gear from year 2 from Taken King stuff, you can actually continue to wear that and use other items to infuse into it to continue to use that. I have a scout rifle right now, Treads Upon Stars, which I love. It rolled explosive rounds for me and has high impact and is basically Vision of Confluence again. If I don't like the new scout rifle or the new auto rifle or a pulse rifle or what have you from the raid, I can use that and continue to use Treads Upon Stars because you can infuse stuff. It basically makes it more of a Diablo-esque type game for loot, which I've always found more rewarding. You basically can go into any heroic strike and get blue items, and they're useful. You can, if it rolls properly, you can use them to infuse your legendaries. Now, of course, as Matt said, the raid is your end game stuff. It has very cool perks, so you are going to end up probably using a lot of that stuff. But if there is stuff that you like armor that you prefer the look of, by all means, use it. Yeah. Story.
There's actually a story.
There is actually a story. I mean, it's as simple as that. We're not going to spend too much time on it. The story makes sense. It ties into the dark below as Oryx is now coming because he's a little bit pissed off that you killed his son, and he's coming to seek revenge on that. But the story is well done. It has very good voice actors. Nathan Fillion plays Cade, and he plays a major part in this.
Best character in the game.
Yep. Everything just sort of comes together as a unified story that everybody can follow. And although it's a little bit cliche, big evil entity coming, we take care of it, blah, 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 it's still at least easy to follow and good. Raid.
So much larger, much more difficult, and with hidden secrets in it. Like,
yes.
The second chest, I believe it is.
Second or third, one or the other. You're talking about the one in the dark.
No, I'm talking about the one where you actually have to work as a team and to ensure that everyone can get it.
Oh, yes.
That one was kind of hidden.
To make sure everybody it was hidden because you have to go up. Yeah, but to make sure everybody gets it, you have to coordinate with them. The chest in the dark, I believe that's optional.
Yep.
You actually have to make sure you're standing on the pads in the dark and find your way through this basically pitch black hallway. And if you thought the thrall running in Crota's End was bad, no. This is way worse. It is literally pitch black. You can't see a goddamn thing. The raid is huge. The jump puzzle's actually difficult and fun. The boss mechanics, oh my god, the boss mechanics are so damn cool. The War Priest has a Simon Says mechanic as well as and Golgoroth has a damage buff one. It's bringing elements from other MMOs that were actually very good. Nothing is more satisfying than seeing crazy numbers on your screen, and Golgoroth does that because it gives you a 10 times damage buff. So your sniper rifles are doing 50 and 60,000 damage a shot. Yeah, love that stuff. So the raid is phenomenal. And it's much larger because the amount of time it takes us to get to and kill War Priest, we can do all of Crota's End. I know people are doing it faster, but we're just not that good.
No.
New exotics are harder to get, but fulfilling. As an example, I'm going to use the sword because everybody knows about the sword already. The sword quest is difficult. You get your sword very easily from a quest. Starts at 220. Once you get it to 280 and completely level up your sword, it gives you another quest, which is actually incredibly difficult because it ends with you waiting for Arms Day and then doing a 300 light level Sunless Cell strike with extra adds in the Sunless Cell to fight the last boss, and you have to kill the extra add and the boss within 30 seconds of each other in order to get your 310 exotic sword. Yeah, and I'm going to segue that into new heavy weapon class, which is a sword.
But Jolly Holiday Quest was even harder. Well, not even harder, but very similar to that.
Yeah.
But yes, new heavy weapon class.
New heavy weapon class is sword. Obviously, everybody's going to have. There's only two. There's a legendary version of every element, and there's an exotic version of every element.
Which the one thing with that is I hope they add that you can go back and redo the quest, because I didn't like the sword at first, so I can no longer get the arc without deleting a character.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they add it back so that you can get it again.
I would imagine they'll give you something where there's abandoned quests.
It's not there.
It's not okay. Well, hopefully they add stuff like that for people who accidentally sharded it or what have you. But as an example, Matt has the exotic fire one.
Raise lighter.
Sorry?
Raise lighter.
It's called Raise the Lighter?
No, Raise lighter.
Raise lighter, okay. Which has a unique R2 ability, which is an uppercut that does heavy, heavy, heavy damage. The arc one, which is what I have, basically shoots destructo discs and creates an AoE electrical storm around that area, which I love. But yeah, everybody loved the sword from Crota's End and from the Sword of Crota mission, so what did they do? They added a sword to the damn game, and it makes it really fun. It makes old stuff a little bit easier. You can just kind of cut through everything with it. It's fun. More equipment obviously was added as well, which we like. There, instead of just having 2 sidearms that you can get, there are actually multiple. There's a whole bunch of different sidearms you can get now. New shotguns, and more importantly, again, which I did mention with House of Wolves, new models. So Omelon, Suros, and Haka are all really unique looking weapons that you can basically choose which one you like. Omelon. Artifacts were also added to the game, which we like. It's another thing to chase for loot. It adds an extra perk as well as some more stats. Simple as that. Perks like if you throw an arc grenade, it has a chance to spawn an orb, things like that. But it's basically just something else to go for, which I like. But the thing that I like the most about the Taken King is there's actually secrets.
Yeah.
So people have discovered, as an example, during the Praedyth mission, when you're going into the Vault of Glass, you can actually go now into a secret room where you actually find out what happens to Praedyth, and find his body, and you get an extra chest and extra equipment.
Where we find his bones and everything there, because the Vault of Glass is out of time, we might have just shown up when he is dead. I have a feeling that Praedyth is actually going to end up being alive because of that mission.
Oh, okay.
And the ghost.
Maybe we fight him in that room or something, and he's a boss or something.
No, thank you.
He just uses Praedyth's revenge and just snipes everybody, and they all die. But yeah, so there's another mission that people had discovered. Spoilers, by the way. There's a sniper rifle that's very similar to Black Hammer called Black Spindle, and it is an exotic sniper rifle. It is part of a daily heroic mission. If you're doing the, what's it called?
Lost to Light.
Lost to Light, and you're escaping the room. Instead of going all the way out, you actually go up towards Tannix, and it will actually queue another event, a separate ending, where it gives you a difficult task, 10 minutes to do the entire strike with Taken in it. And if you complete it, you get an exotic sniper rifle. That is the things like this, and even Sleeper Simulant to an extent, where they throw a mission at you. You do the mission, and as long as you do the mission, you can do the rest of the quest and get Sleeper Simulant. That is something that has never been seen in Destiny. So
now they mentioned Sleeper Simulant. The two missions for Sleeper Simulant are not showing because they're not available at the moment. So there's actually more missions.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
true. Yeah. No, it's. I just love their unique use of everything. They literally, if people were complaining that Bungie doesn't listen, they basically just got a giant foot shoved in their mouth. Because they literally took everything that people were complaining about and said, all right, we're going to give everybody everything that they want. There are some nitpicking things you can do, but the reality is that if I were to recommend this game, it would be an absolute thumbs up. You should be playing this, especially if you're a first-person shooter fan. I believe, Matt, you'd agree with me. Thumbs up? Two thumbs up. So we would recommend playing this game. Yes, there's some bad things about it, and you'll notice that on your own, but we're not going to be negative about such small, minute things that are overshadowed immensely by the tremendous improvement that Bungie has made on Destiny. Simple as that. Anything else you want to add? Were you playing anything else or anything like that you might want to touch on?
Only thing else that your whole Metal Gear is going to win Game of the Year. Taken King outsold it.
Obviously. That's not a surprise. Metal Gear will still be my game of the year because of what it can do, but I have now almost 100% of that game. So once I got back from my honeymoon, I was playing catch up and Taken King. But there's other games that are coming out too that I'm going to end up playing. But I will tell you this: the Taken King is something that everybody should be playing. Bungie has listened to their fan base and responded with a. To give you an idea, a major website gave the original Destiny a 6.5, and the exact same reviewer gave the Taken King a 9. Yep. So that is from the same reviewer who had the same gripes, and obviously they have made up for all mistakes that they made.
Even us, we were like, love it or leave it. We're not going to suggest everyone play Destiny, and now we are. So.
Yes, exactly, because I think it's that much of an improvement. That's been Double Take, our review, the GamingLag.com's review show. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at Chalice. If you want to follow Matt,
at ManWTheBeard.
And if you want to follow us as a collective group, which includes Josh and Sam, who don't do this show with us, we are at GamingLag, 2Gs and Lag. Please visit the website, which in the coming weeks we will be overhauling to look much better. Obviously, we've learned a few things in the first year that we've been doing this, so we're going to make the website look much nicer. We are going to be streamlining everything, and this week should be the week that all videos are coming back and stuff, since we're all caught up and all that good stuff. Simple as that. Thank you very much for watching, and please take a look at all of our other shows that we do, which includes the Lag Spike podcast, the Last Word podcast. Gaming Lag out.